Forever. Dog.
Welcome to The Chop with Latrice and Manila,
where we give you the weekly recap and rundown of our favorite movies. Who's on top?
and who gets the chop?
Manila.
Latrice Royale.
I'm feeling extra glamorous tonight.
Giving everything you got, trying to make it to the top. Never ever gonna stop, even if you get the chop, 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 chop. Girl, you got the chop.
Don't be bitter, bitch. Just make them eat it, honey.
Let's chop it up, Latrice.
Let's chop it up. Welcome back to the Chop Movie Club, everybody. I'm excited, so excited about today's discussion because this goes down as, I think, as one of the most gay iconic cult classics ever. Ever. So we are doing the 1989 film, Steel Magnolias, honey. Yes! Now, this film is about a bond of a group of women who share a small town southern community where everybody's in everybody's business. You know how that go. And how they cope with death and of one of their own. And the story unfolds in chapters as characters live lives progress. So I'm excited because it got some good stars up in here.
Yeah, this movie got some fierce stars in him. Hold up, Michael! Can you give me my plug for my the plug because my battery's gonna die. Yes, the stars are out, honey. The stars of the 80s. Now, I didn't know that Steel Magnolias was a film adaptation of a play by Robert Harlings, of the same name. And it's actually based on the playwright's real-life experiences and the death of his sister from type 1 diabetes. There's something new. I just thought it was a fierce movie, but I guess it's a play as well.
Yeah. Which, we just did Boys in the Band, similar, but this they did the damn thing here. I mean, this cast, you got Dara Hannah as Annelle, you got Dolly Parton as Truvy. You have Sally Field as Malin. You got Julia Roberts as Shelby. Olympia Dukakis as Clary. And Shirley MacLaine as good old girl, Ouiser.
Oh my God. First of all, it's a beautiful cast. First of all, Dolly Parton is the inspiration for my look today on the podcast. For those of you watching the podcast on YouTube, I'm wearing my biggest Dolly Parton hair because... girl, the hairs in this
girl.
80s movie.
I mean,
now, bringing it back to the play, I read when I was researching for this podcast. We're very informed that the original play was actually the cast was just female. There were no male actors in the original play. In the movie, there are male actors. Just to kind of flush it all out, but. I think that's a really, really cool place where this is coming from. Because it's about a group of women and, the men really don't have that big of a role in this movie. They're kind of just set pieces in a way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the plot of the whole thing is that it's the wedding day of Shelby, played by Julia Roberts, and everyone is kind of scrambling to get, their country home ready for the guests to come. They're shooting guns up in the air to scare the birds out of the trees so they don't poop on the guests. And everyone's really getting ready. But I love the fact that they're firing guns. It's very America, right? We're just bring me my guns.
Hey, bring me my gun. But girl, there is so much going on with that. With him trying to shoot the bird, scare the birds, and. Bitch, here come Weezer, girl.
Ooh, with her dog.
With her balding dog, girl. Missy, honey, this is one of my favorite moments because Weezer is pissed off, honey, because the dog is going through it, is having a nervous breakdown. The hair is falling all out. Weezer looks like the dog. because he is dragging her. So she takes all his little bullets and throws them in the pool, girl. Like, she's had it. You will not fire another shot.
We kind of like follow the story. Like, it's kind of like starting out with Annelle, played by Daryl Hannah of Splash fame, right?
Right.
And she's all nerdy with her glasses, even though she's like one of the most beautiful
Sex
actresses.
kitten, yes.
Gorgeous. Like, they're trying to like uglify her, but you could tell like they really have to like put prosthetics on her to make her look like not gorgeous. But she comes into town. She's new to town, and she is being interviewed by Dolly Parton's character Truvy at her home salon.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like she's doing Dolly Parton's hair as like the test to see if she's good enough to work at the salon.
Correct.
And girl, that is one big ass wig Dolly Parton is wearing. I forgot how big Dolly Parton's hair was in the 80s.
Huge. She had Lady Bunny hair.
Huge hair. It was insane. We find out that Annelle's character like escaped from a tumultuous relationship with her husband. We don't really know the full story, but like he vanished, took all her money, took her jewels, left her high and dry, and so she's like, let me start anew in this little town and get me a job at Truvy's hair salon.
Correct. So now they're all getting ready for the wedding, and Shelby is so excited about her wedding colors and how the hall has just been banked with her favorite colors of blush and bashful, which is really pink and pink. So I put on my blush and bashful today too, in honor of the wedding hall, honey. I'm going to the function, girl.
Yes, you are. You got your pink hair. You got your pink. You actually almost looks like the suit that Julia Roberts wears when she's going to her honeymoon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, in the salon, we find out that Shelby has type 1 diabetes, and she's all of a sudden like, we're having a good old time, like having a kiki in the salon, but all of a sudden she starts having this hyperglycemic attack, and they're like, "Oh, you forgot your pen in your purse that's not here. Get her something to eat. Get her some cookies. Get her some juice." This is like, I was like, at first I was like, what the hell is going on here? Because as a little kid, when I was watching this movie, I didn't fully understand what was going on.
Right.
But, you know, she had too much insulin and her blood sugar went low. So she was having an attack, right?
Yeah.
Kind of scary stuff. And her hair gets messed up.
Oh my God. They had just put the finishing touches, honey. She was ready to walk down the aisle. And then, honey, it hit. And she has a fit. They're trying to get some candy. No, juice is better. You got to get some juice, Shelby. Get your juice. Drink your juice, Shelby. Baby, that is one of the most iconic lines. First one out the box, out the gate. Drink your juice, Shelby. How many times do we tell other girls to drink their juice, girl? When they popping off. When you popping off. Drink your juice, Shelby.
This hair salon scene is just a lot of fun. Like this movie's great. Every time they're in the salon is like they have like good scenes. It reminds me of drag queens in a dressing room. Kiki.
That's what it is. That is what it is. A bunch of women just cackling and telling stories and gossiping. They gotta tell the tea about who's doing what where. But yeah, Melinda reveals to all the ladies about her condition. And the doctors advises that she should not try to have children. Like, is dangerous for her.
For her own health?
For her own health.
So I don't know. I don't know, like, the I'm not a doctor, you know? So I don't know, like, what the thing is. But I guess, I mean, it's just not healthy.
The problem is, like, she had bad kidneys to begin with. So like when your body's already weak and you don't have an immune system to fight back and regenerate, having a baby, giving birth takes a lot out of you, and her body wouldn't be able to probably recover from that. So they probably was like, it's best that you don't do this. especially with her condition. So,
Well, she's about to get married and go on a honeymoon with, her very, very handsome husband. So this is going to be kind of I guess this is the main conflict, I guess, for her character.
yeah, it's just, she wants a baby and she shouldn't do it that way, not naturally anyway. But that's all that, there is time for the wedding, honey.
Oh my God.
Girl, the sanctuary is pink, girl. It is really, like, when the doors open, it is super pink. And and Drum Eaton, which is Shelby's dad, can't hear because he done been shooting guns all day, and then all the then he shot that crossbow up into the tree with all the fireworks,
Firecrackers.
and that's what did it, honey. He went deaf for a little bit. And so it's time for him to walk down the aisle, and they're like, "Daddy, it's time. It's
like,
time."
What? Huh? He didn't even hear the church music. No, those doors open up, and it is like a full-on 80s rific, like, bridal party up there in their big Southern Belle pink satin dresses. It is literally like this is the epitome of what 80s weddings looked like, I feel like.
For real.
Like, this is what they make fun of. Like, this is like the parody of what people these days would say, like, this, but it's for real. Now, question, did they at the time making this realize how garish this wedding would look? Or were they like, this is the fiercest looking wedding we've ever seen?
I mean, think about it. For the time, this was the fiercest wedding that anybody's ever seen.
Like, movie star quality, like movie budget.
Coin. Yeah, they spent coin. Look at the sanctuary, honey. They got swags of fabric draped all from the choir stand to the pulpit, girl. Like, they really, really went all the way out.
And the hair. The hair on some of these bridesmaids, girl. I was like, I don't know, tease my wings up a little bit bigger. They're putting me to shame.
Baby, 80s Aquanet. That's what it was all about.
That is the tea right there. Aquanet was that was it. Best hairspray ever.
Y'all remember Aquanet?
Of course.
For real. Okay.
Yes. Because when I started doing drag, aerosol hairspray cans kind of fell out of style because of, the whole ozone layer stuff.
So you started using Pump It Up.
So you would use Pump It Up, but Pump It Up is a really strong hairspray, but Pump It Up would clog the little spitzer.
Yeah.
So Aquanet was always like the best because you could just like hose down a wig and get that thing to stay. Like, that was like made for like 60s beehives, right?
Yeah.
So that would hold a wig up nice and good. Who would you play if you were going to be cast in like the remake of this?
I mean, I kind of identify as a Clary. I really do. I identify as a Clary. I feel like I know all her lines for sure. But because she be reading, honey. Clary
she's sweet as
keeps
pie,
it
but shady as fuck.
She's shady as fuck, and she keeps it 100, honey. Keeps it 100. So I'm a Clary.
Clary. I feel like I would probably be a Weezer.
Well, that makes sense because you would be the Weezer to my Clary. That would make sense, and I'd be the Clary to your Weezer. That would make sense. Come on, two bosom buddies still together.
Oh, it's just like going back and forth. I love their relationship.
Well, why don't we get to the Christmas festival right after this short commercial break?
Woo woo!
Welcome back to the Chop, and we are stealing our magnolias, honey.
I got my box of tissues right on hand in case I need to cry.
Girl. Well, it's the holiday time, which is, timely, right?
I love this because, all of a sudden, it started on Easter, and then now it's all of it already Christmas.
It's Christmas time. So, we're at the Christmas festival, and Shelby announces that she is pregnant. Well, she don't announce. It was really her daddy who outed and spilled the beans to everybody.
He's like, I'm not going to say you're pregnant. I just want to announce that I'm going to be a grandfather.
I'm like, well, you just did it. But everybody's so excited. They don't really know the tea. Everybody's screaming and happy and celebrating, but not so much with Malin, honey. Malin is upset. She knows that it's really risky. And Truby tries to encourage Malin to, instead of focusing on the bad parts, that, she should focus on the joy that a new baby brings.
I mean, I don't blame Malin because, like, no mother wants to have, like, even the possibility that their child is going to be at risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one wants that. So, like, usually a joyous occasion is becoming like, oh, shoot, like, this means that there could be problems coming down the line because
Right.
obviously Shelby is, she has type 1 diabetes, and like we already established that this is a bad idea. She could have some health issues, but, focusing on the good, it's Christmas time.
Right.
So then Annelle, so she's like, she was a little bit nerdy in the beginning, but now she's like really blossomed because, she's working at this hair salon. So she's been, slowly, getting made over. Like Dolly Parton says, like, there is no such thing as natural beauty. And as a drag queen, I agree, because we have to put a lot of shit on to make us look gorgeous. But Annelle
Correct.
has really blossomed, and she's been going out and meeting boys and wearing her show, and she's wearing contacts now. And this is hilarious because she doesn't have her little nerdy glasses anymore.
No.
But
She
she's
is
walking around.
painted.
She's like, everyone stop! I lost the contact. Back up.
Nobody move. Nobody move. I lost my contact. Oh my God. A mess. Have you ever left a contact on the ground before?
Yes, occasionally. Usually my contact will slide up, like I'll hit my eye and it'll like go up inside my eye, and I'm like trying to like squeeze it out from under my eyelid. But I remember my mother used to have hard contacts. Before soft contacts, they had hard contacts.
Yeah.
And those would pop out of my mom's eyes all the time.
Oh my God.
I remember her always freaking out about like her contact getting lost.
Yeah.
And she would find it like in her pocket on her boob.
I would only, like, when I was wearing color contacts, for show, I would guarantee I would lose an eye and walk around and, like, I have one eye, like a cyclops. So one blue eye.
Looking
one
like David
brown eye.
Bowie.
Yeah, remember that. Oh, my goodness. So, Clary decided to go ahead and buy her a radio station because it was up for sale. And her husband had died and everything, so she's not doing much. So she got all this coin. And so they suggested that, why don't you buy KPPD? And so she did. So for one of her first assignments, she's doing this commentary in the men's locker room of the football team. Now, girl, when we were watching it, it now tells you, it says, on the warning, it has sexuality, nudity, drugs. I was like, what? In Still Magnolias? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this scene. Yeah, nudity, all that. And I was like, really? And then the butts in this locker room, bitch. Yes. It might have been the same butt that walked by several times, but it was a lot of butts.
Yeah, I love this movie because it knows its audience. It knows its audience is going to be women and a gaggle of gay men, right?
Honey.
So they're like, throw in some male nudity. Not one tit in sight.
Not a one.
Not one.
They
Well,
do
except for Dolly Parton's bosom. But not a bare titty in sight, but butts galore. I love it because like Weezer's in the thing. Weezer's in there. She's got her compact and she's kind of like
and
looking
she's trying to
behind
sneak a
her.
peek.
No, but it's really funny because Claire, she don't know nothing about football.
No,
she's
she's talking about
like,
the color, girl.
the color of the uniforms.
Is
would
it
you say
grape
that's
or aubergine?
Would you say that as a grape or is it an aubergine uniform?
Shut up. You're making a fool of yourself. Oh, she said nobody care about that grape shit.
I want to know about the touchdowns. But no, I really, this scene was like great. This scene is like, last week we were watching The Boys in the Band and they just randomly had that scene where like naked in the swimming pool. This is that scene in this movie where
Baby.
you're like, oh yes.
Oh, yes. Yes. It was so perfect.
We find out later that the baby is born.
And he's
Like, it just like
helping.
flashes forward, and we're already having a first birthday party.
Right. He's healthy. Well, you know, they say that Jackson's a big hanging man.
Oh.
So, you know, it took the first.
It got up in there deep.
It got up in there.
No wonder Shelby was like really adamant about having babies. Okay, she's like,
No.
it's gonna happen,
At
honey.
least the practice session was gonna be, you know, on fire. But yeah, they have a baby boy, Jackson Jr. And what happens is what they feared is that Shelby develops kidney failure and now requires dialysis and a kidney transplant. And her mom decides to donate her kidney. But of course, you know,
Yeah, that just making everything more nervous.
Dad is not feeling it. Dad is very nervous.
Yeah. And this is like what makes this movie so great is because like we're having a good old gay time, kikiing with the girls. You know, it's like one of these like time is moving. We're celebrating holidays. We're having picnics and barbecues and Christmas time, but really this underlying like thing like it's like life and death. It's just underlying this
it's right
whole
here.
film.
Yep.
So it really kind of like builds like the tension and like it really does like make these moments of like when the group is together, it makes it special because you know like, oh God, it's like there's this impending doom, like someone's health is failing and like
Mhm.
it's very real, right?
Yeah. Very.
But keeping it real, the next time they're in the salon,
Girl.
Claire is talking about her gay nephew Marshall.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
She's like, back in the day, it was easy to figure out which side men butter their bread. But these
About
days,
the
it's getting a
demeanor.
little bit more difficult.
Right. Who knows?
But what she says, all gay men have track lighting, and all gay men are named Mark, Rick, or Steve.
I know a lot of gay Mark, Ricks, and Steves. I really do.
Yeah, and in the 80s, track lighting was like becoming a real thing,
It
right?
really was. It
Yeah,
was
no
becoming
longer dealing with lamps.
No.
No, we're getting track lighting,
lighting.
spotlights. And then didn't Wheezy say like, "Oh,
I love my track. No, she's like, oh, I love my track lighting. My grandson put it in. And they're like, oh, how is it? It's like, oh, Steve, he's fine. Girl.
Oh, we just said like, yes, okay, that makes sense. All right, maybe her grandson is,
Gay.
a friend of Dorothy's.
Friend of Dorothy's. I love it.
Yeah,
That
I
is
think
what
this
we
is like
said.
another reason why like gay men are really like drawn to this movie. You know,
Oh,
like
totally. The reads are there, and you know we're there. You know, we're in the atmosphere for sure. Oh my God, have you ever gone to a salon at somebody's house like that? They did the hair out of their house, like a back room.
yeah, like
I used to do that all the time, girl.
yeah. When I was younger, my mother had like a friend of the family who like cut hair, so I would usually go to the barber shop. But sometimes, like if it just worked into the thing, my mother would take me and my sister, and we would all kind of like go and get her hair cut at her friend's house, which was fun because it was like it's a completely different experience going to someone's house to get your hair done than like going to like a cost
A
cutters.
storefront, yeah.
or like a franchise or just some
Yep.
random barber
That's
shop.
true. You feel like you're in a safer place. I just felt safer in the back of somebody's kitchen, honey.
Oh, but it looks like so much fun.
Oh
You
my
know,
God!
like,
I mean,
Everyone's just
You
kind of
know.
like hanging out.
eating and talking shit and waiting for your turn. You know, and that's it. And everybody's patient because all you're gonna do is get the tea while you rinsing and drying and blow drying. Let me get you over here in this chair, girl. I'll start your perm. You know, it's whatever it is. But girl, speaking of like perms and changes, girl, Miss Anel Girl, don't she go through some metamorphosis through this film, honey? She done had like 15 personalities. She went from the little nerdy little school, like, oh my God, I just left this relationship, to a heathen wearing push-up bras and lipstick. And, you know.
And wearing contact lenses.
And contact lenses. And now here we are. Now she's a super Christian and needs to pray every 5 minutes.
Oh. Well,
oh my God. Bible thumper, a nail.
Well, she got out of like a bad relationship, and so then she like went into the salon and she like got hot, and then she was probably like, you know, going around with the boys, and then she was like, you know what? No, I need to find Jesus.
Girl,
Because-
yeah, she did that. She did that. But I think everybody liked the fun in there with the contacts a lot more than pray every 5 minutes. A nail.
I mean, I agree. I think that Anel was just fine. The second 2.0
During
version.
Christmas, yeah.
For Christmas, yes. Moving on, we have good news. Shelby has recovered from her kidney transplant months later. But we find later that Jackson comes home and her husband comes home and finds her on the floor, unconscious.
Mhm.
So we've now determined that, in fact, now Shelby is, her condition is irreversible and she's going to have to like go on life support. And then next thing we know, she is like full on laid up in the hospital in a coma or something. I don't know what's going on, but like all of a sudden, like, you know, everything is like kind of like going and we're all having fun. And then like it comes back to Shelby and she's sick again.
She's sick. Well, she's dying. And it's so heartbreaking, but her mother never leaves her side. Malin never leaves her side. She's there reading to her, doing her nails, keeping her, you know, keeping Shelby as Shelby and doing as a mom would do. And she wouldn't leave her side because she wanted to be there when she woke up, you know. And the rest of the family was, taking it hard.
Unfortunately, she doesn't wake up and they actually like signed the papers to take her off of life support. And God, this is such like a really, really like real scene. Like all of a sudden it goes quiet. Like you just hear the heart monitor like slowly going and then it just goes silent. And then we just hear silence.
Yeah.
And I'm just like tearing up because I'm really feeling for Malin, you know, like,
oh yeah,
Sally Field is such a great actress and she like, we got her, like, she's like making us all boo-hooing. I'm feeling it. Like, I'm like, we really feel like a mother losing her child, which is like one of those things where like, that's not supposed to happen.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Heartbreaking. Well, let's take a short break and then we'll go to the funeral because it's interesting how this scene really plays out next. So we'll be right back. And
We have,
Yep, that's it. We back.
we back. Oh, we're at the funeral. It's depressing. But we get this iconic scene where
Girl.
Malin breaks down. She's like, and all the women are running after her, trying to comfort her. Her like group of girls, as Malin is accepting her daughter's decision to have risked her life in order to be happy for just 30 minutes as opposed to a lifetime of nothing. For the special moments of her getting to be a mother. And, you know, so like now she's having like this like realization that she's gonna like put all of her love that she would have done to her daughter to the grandson. It's a really amazing moment. It's like full circle life death situation. Life goes on. Your family, your friends, all of this moment. It's like the sad scene, but like brilliantly acted by Sally Field.
Brilliant. Sally Field gives an amazing amazing performance in the film of Sherry. Like, we move through so many emotions. She goes from angry to sad to even laughing because Clarice like, "Here, hit Weezer," because she's
like,
so mad.
I'm so mad. I want to hit something. I want to hit something. I just want to make something feel as painful as I feel. And then Clarice said, "Well,
Weezer,
hit Weezer.
Hit this. Hit a Weezer. Take a whack of Weezer." All the lines, honey. We go from completely in tears
Full
to
on
completely in hysterics.
bursting out laughing.
Yeah. Like, to be able to do that and control the vibe in such a short time, that's a testament to their acting skills. They turned the scene. So what a roller coaster ride, too, because, like, we're just all up in it, all in the feels. And now I'm laughing hysterically because Weezer is getting mad as hell. Are you high, Clary? Yes, I am. Always.
It is so crazy. Yeah, no, like this movie is like jumping from time to time to time, and we get to see these people through the good times, the celebrations, and then the bad times and the heartache and the worry and everything. And this is all happening at once in this like moment where it's just like you're crying and laughing at the same time. You know, it's like such a weird moment. It's brilliantly acted by Sally Field. I think she got a nomination for a Golden Globe nomination, or she won a Golden Globe for this.
No, she got a nomination for Golden Globe.
It's so amazing. I mean, this is like the funniest part. This is my favorite part. Is when Clary like pushes Shirley MacLaine's character in front. She's like, "Here, hit her."
Oh my God! But they are Clary and Weezer are true friends. After Weezer storms off, Clary goes and finds her sitting on the bench, and they don't even have to say any words. They just sit there next to each other, and then they're looking, and they know that the other one's sorry and doesn't mean no harm, and they kind of push each other and start pushing.
Yeah.
She's like, "Get off my bench! Get off my bench!"
Yeah, I mean, like, I know, like, Clary is, like, she's like, one of the best readers, and she's always throwing shade and shit like that. But, like, in that moment, she was like, in order for Malin to, like, snap out of that moment, we have to, like, break the tension with this sense of humor. Unfortunately, it has to be at Weezer's expense. But I feel like Weezer understands, like, okay, yes, this is for the better of our friend who's going through this, who just lost her daughter. Life goes on, though, because the next thing we know, it's Easter again, and we find that Annelle is now married, and she's pregnant, and she wants to name her child Shelby after Julie Roberts' character Shelby. So, you know.
Yeah, real sweet.
It's really sweet. It's really sweet. Dolly Parton's character gets
she gets a second salon. Yeah, her husband, Truvy husband, gets her a new location, and now she's a chain. I'm a chain.
Yes, I'm a chain. Chain.
Get their coins, girl. Get their coins.
So the movie ends the fact that they're all, they're again having their party in the park, but Annelle starts to go into labor.
We're back at Easter again. Yeah,
we're back at Easter, and she like runs off. Everyone like runs off to the hospital. It's a really like cute thing. Like life goes on. One of your loved ones is no longer with us, but a new one is born into the family.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, it really does have like this, and then the movie's over, and it's just like kind of like this like really feel good movie. You just feel like you've just like watched like your friends, your whole friendship, your family, like all kind of there's someone to relate to in every person, in every character.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was brilliantly done. I am a longtime fan of this movie. I can watch it over and over, and it seemed like last night, it was a group of us, and we just sat and watched and can recite all the lines word by word, but it's a classic. So the title of this movie, it suggests the female characters can be both delicate as a magnolia flower and as tough as steel. And they really demonstrate that throughout the film because, my God, they go through some shit, but they handle it so delicately and gracefully. And it's like smelling a flower sometimes, you just like, it brings you joy. Even in the sadness, there was joy and a bright side of things. So, I think that they did a good job.
Yeah, it's like, I remember this movie as being like the movie that everyone will cry during. It's like one of those feel-good movies where you can't help but like, you just know, even the strongest person will get a little bit like, a little verklempt, a little teary-eyed, a little like trying to hold back the tears. I knew watching this, like where the parts that I'm going to cry, like the hospital scene, definitely the funeral scene. So I was like prepared with my little box of tissues, and I'm like, it gets me every time.
Yeah.
Every time. But I'm also smiling at the end of this movie.
Yeah, of course. You can't help it because, like the ending, you can't forget this iconic moment. So you got to remember that Clary is a piece of work. She's sitting there on the blanket and she's telling little Jackson Jr., a little story, a fairy tale
my God.
about her mom. And she's, a beautiful girl named Shelby who had a beautiful fairy godmother named Clary. And there was a mean, horrible, wretched old witch named Weezer.
And then
now
Weezer...
little Jackson, so little Jackson is terrified of the old witch. And then Weezer comes up.
She's like peeking behind the tree, being all cutesy, like, and then he's like, oh, it's me, Weezer. And then he starts crying.
He's
and
like, slaps her in the face first. And then
that's right. Bitch slaps the witch.
Bitch slaps the witch and then runs off crying. Oh my God. I was like, go ahead, Clary. She did that once again. Shady bitch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's insane. What? Yeah, I love that. That is like that pair is like my favorite to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite. Let's get to our tops and our chops.
Yes.
Steel Magnolias, the trees. What is your top? What's your favorite part of this film?
There's so many. There's so many. I loved, because I can relate. This is one of the other lines that I can relate to, is when Clary has some shoes that she can't fit, and she was going to give them to Truvy, to Dolly Parton's character. She's like, well, what size shoe do you wear? She goes, well, a good shoe, I wear a size 6, but a 7 feels so good, I wear a size 8. I buy a size 8. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Me.
Oh, that's so me too.
Yeah.
Girl knows that I'm going to be wearing a size 11 high heel shoe, but if someone asks me, I'll be like, I could probably squeeze into a 9.
Exactly.
My favorite thing about this movie is like just the fashions and the hairstyles.
Oh yeah.
Because this takes place in the 80s and it takes place in a hair salon. So like the fashions, and any movie with Dolly Parton is fucking great in my eyes. Like that.
I'm here for that.
There's just something about so like sweet. Her voice is so high and joyful. I don't know. But that wedding gave me some fashions, darling. So dated, but like looking back at it now, like I was like, yeah, like there was a whole period where we just hated on 80s fashions. And I see why, because it's ridiculous.
It is. It's so extra.
But enough time has passed so I can sit back and actually look back at it and watch me like, yes, the 80s had some very, very bold choices with their fashions, and I'm here for it.
What I love about the 80s fashion is women's suits. I don't think that there has ever been a better cut of suit than in the 80s. Like, you think of those Dynasty bitches, you think about those, designer women girls, honey, Julia Sugar, but they were dressed, honey. Those are some shoulder pads, big broad shoulder bitches, honey. Yeah.
Those power suits, yeah.
The power suits. That means business, honey. Yeah.
What about your chop?
Oh, well, obviously, it was Shelby dying. I was like, oh, boo. But, it was a beautiful story and sentiment. And she did bring life into this world. And we will forever know now that Shelby lives on through Jackson Jr. So,
yeah. I think that's like right. My chop is definitely like boo-hooing, like a little baby in this movie. It's something that you kind of have to like wear as like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
You're like, I watched Teal Magnolias and I cried my eyes out.
Well, those people who have a soul, them bitches who be like, oh no, people die. I'm like, you have no soul, bitch.
Yeah, because this movie like really it takes it's over a long period of time, and you get to know these characters, and it's kind of like when it kind of has like the holidays, and that's kind of like like every holiday,
family.
like you have like the gatherings of your people and your friends. So yeah, there's that passage of time, but yeah, it was like that anticipation of Shelby dying. When she first had that attack in the salon, I was just like, oh my God, this is like so real.
But
like I said before, it really does make you really appreciate all the like fun moments that they have, because that she gonna die. So
yeah.
But yeah.
But yay.
Well, those are our tops and our chops of Steel Magnolias. Boo-hooing our eyes out. I wore my waterproof mascara and everything.
Well, good. I love this film. I love it's timeless to me still. But I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. I think that's it for today. But we will be back on Thursday for our audio-only episode.
Yes, and next Tuesday, we're going to be watching Mommy Dearest.
Woo, bitch.
Yes, this film has influenced so many drag queens, so it's going to be good.
Yes.
This one also has all the memorable quotes that drag queens will be doing.
Amen for that. Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much for listening to The Chop.
Make sure you subscribe to our show. You can rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. We have new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.
And you can send us an email and we might read it on the show. Just email us at latricemanila@gmail.com.
And you can follow us at Latrice Royale and at Manila Luzon.
And we'll see you next week to find out
who or what gets the chop. The Chop is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. All names, pictures, and media clips are registered trademarks and or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders.
Forever Dog.
The Chop is produced by Forever Dog and Moguls of Media.
Ma.
Hosted by Latrice Royale and Manila Luzon.
Produced by Big Dipper.
Mixed and mastered by Will Pitts.
Executive produced by Willem Belli.
Alaska Thunderfuck.
Brett Boehm.
Joe Cilio.
And Alex Ramsey.
Our theme song is The Chop by Manila Luzon and Latrice Royale.